What's up, everybody? I'm back. I appreciate y'all always rocking with me. You know I'm never too far. Finally getting the chance to do a few things. I'm going to be all over the place a little bit, but as always, there's a message involved. Let's get right into it.
Turn the lights all the way down. What?
Shout out to Cozy.
Yeah. Come on. Flow. Come on. Yeah. Yo.
J-A-Y, I flow sick.
Fuck.
All y'all haters blow dick.
I spit the game
For those who throw bricks.
money.
Nigga, I spit the game for those who throw bricks, nigga. We not talking about basketball shots, nigga.
Thanks.
What the fuck, nigga?
These are the type of records you listen to. You be listening to this shit and you be mad about where hip hop is right now. This is what I love about this reaction, by the way. Shout out to Cozy. I don't really follow his other videos, but I saw this one just by pure chance because I've been listening to this record a lot. But it's like, when you guys be telling me, you know, certain rappers, they got the Billboard records and all that, I'm just like, what are you talking about? Are you delusional? And then you're like, oh, but he's not that great. He's whatever. You're like, are you delusional? Money Cash Hoes destroys anything Drake has ever come out with. Come on, man. Anyways, but the reason I brought up that line is obviously the Knicks have gone to the finals. Shout out to the Knicks, okay? This is why I posted Knicks and 6 SMD. That shit will always kill me. Knicks and 6.
Knicks and 6, suck my dick. Knicks and 6, suck my dick. Knicks and 6, suck my dick. Knicks and 6, suck my dick.
Just for this shit, I'm rooting against y'all. Oh my God, man. Love y'all. Anyway, let's talk this Iceman shit. So, I had done an Iceman video, and this is related to that Cozy reaction. Guys, we are drowning in weak music, bro. We really are, and people are not calling it out, but hopefully, you know, people will be inspired by stuff I say and realize that, yes, we need to get back to making actual great hip-hop, okay? Because what we got with Iceman was not good at all. Okay, let's just call it what it is. You know, hip hop on multiple levels. Again, Money Cash Shows a record that I play all the fucking time, especially at the gym, whatever. But you know, you need that beat. There's levels to this shit. It's not Money Cash Shows isn't just a great beat. It's a game-changing, phenomenal, like otherworldly beat. There are levels to this. So there's good. There's superb. There's like, holy shit, what am I listening to right now? But this is fucking incredible, weird, yet super hip hop. Like, there are levels to this. And unfortunately, Iceman isn't even good. So it's several notches below what I expect or I would want from a hip hop release. You have to remember, man, this is what separates me from anybody really talking music online. Hip hop music. My standards have not dropped. Okay, I noticed people's standards dropping. I noticed this shit in real time, and I was like, nope, I am not doing that. I am not dropping my fucking standards. It doesn't mean that I'm stuck in the past, unlike I'm sure a lot of people or, you know, my haters like to assume, oh, that means you're stuck in the past. Not at all. As you've seen in my channel, and those who know me know that I'm actually ahead of the curve. And the reason I'm ahead of the curve is because my standards haven't dropped, right? That's why I'm able to recognize when an A$AP Rocky comes on the scene and I'm like, that's the guy. Or when a Playboy Cardi comes in the scene and I'm like, that's the guy. Or a Pop Smoke. Remember, I said all these guys early as fuck. The receipts are there. You can check on my channel. I'm ahead. Or even like a Glorilla or certain artists where I'm like, they're doing something. 21 Savage. I remember talking about 21 Savage and Metro. I was talking about Metro Boomin before a lot of people figured out he was dope. Let's just be honest here. Because I heard the Karate Chop remix and I was like, okay, this is actually better than a lot of people's production. And Pierre, I'm ahead of the curve because my standards have not dropped. It's that simple. So, you know, you can listen to this Iceman shit and be like, yo, this shit's fire. It's really not. Honestly, I hate to say it. And I fucks with Drizzy. You guys know this. But I don't think these beats work. I think they're just too slow. They're a bit morose, and I know that Drake has always kind of had that morose energy to him, so maybe for the Drake stans, they might like this shit. But for a lot of us who are more like casual Drake fans, or we kind of like the harder records, like it's harder for us to get into this album. It's just the truth, right? Now, I have heard all three. I ghostfaced the hell out of the last two, who are Maid of Honor and Habibti. Not for me at all. Again, I'm a hip hop channel, so I don't care necessarily. Again, if you're going to make R&B music, it's got to be phenomenal, right? For me to really give a fuck. I'm just being honest. Pardon my language here. And the thing with Drake, to me, that I find so fascinating about these conversations is that, to me, Drake has always been a way better rapper than he's been a singer. I think it's pretty obvious. He's been able to get away with doing these sort of R&B records. I guess there's a lane for it. But what I'm trying to say is that I will always judge Drake as a rapper first, because he's better at that, clearly. You know what I mean? As a singer, he's functional, sort of, but, you know, he doesn't really give me much of a vibe. Now, compare that to someone like, who's my man that I fucks with really heavy? I was playing this in the car with a bad chick the other day, and she was like, "Ooh, like, I love this song," and I was like, "Yeah, it's fucking ill." Damn, my man from Stapleton, Mac Wilds. That's right. Mac Wilds got some shit. I was playing My Crib. People who know R&B, who like, you know, sisters who listen to R&B, they know about Mac Wilds. They do, right? Mac Wilds is a better singer than he is rapper, because I think I have heard him try to rap a little bit on that album, I believe, and it wasn't great, right? But again, being able to rap at a high level and sing at a high level is, I would argue, damn near. I don't think it's impossible, but I don't think we've ever seen that. Maybe that's the next evolution. You never know, right? Hey, wouldn't it be nice if someone with Michael Jackson level talent, or, you know, someone who's uber talented, who really can do both at a really high level, then you're talking about the next real game changer. But in general, I find that brothers are talented, but they're usually better at one thing or the other, right? Mac Wilds is a better singer than he is a rapper, hands down. And Drake is a better rapper than he is a singer, okay? Now, in terms of the three songs that I would say out of all of these, I think I've selected the top three on Iceman, even though, honestly, none of these songs are songs that I personally listen to or would necessarily go back to. And so, the first one in third place to me is Burning Bridges. You're getting body by saying, nigga, I'm off the quay and it makes my body tingle, all that shit. It's okay. But again, these songs are demos. They're rough. I think that they could have been, if they were tidied up and more time was put into them, I think they could have actually been good songs. But I would say number 3 is Burning Bridges. The second one, Janice, Shut the Fuck Up. Beep, beep, baby. That shit's fine. I mean, again, it's catchy. The song itself is, again, a little too slow. It's just a little too morose for me to really say that it's a great song. You can't really party to it. Again, I've heard this in the club. By the way, speaking of that, because I was out last weekend, I went to Lost and Found. I should talk about this, actually, for those of y'all who know Lost and Found. Shout out to Lost and Found. The nightclub here on King Street. So, for those who know, you know, right? And it was interesting being at Lost and Found, because I hadn't been at Lost and Found for like maybe a month or two or something like that. And I don't go out as much as I used to, certainly. But Lost and Found is a zoo, okay? But let me get back to that, actually. I'm going to talk about Lost and Found, right? I'm going to get back to that. Let me talk about Don't Worry first, and I'll show you why, actually, it kind of links up to Lost and Found. Now, the best song to me, personally, on Iceman, and on all of these releases, is Don't Worry. What I think is so funny about my review, as you guys will know, I did a reaction to it. The only reason I didn't post it on my channel is because the audio was jacked up, even though I checked the audio multiple times before recording. So I've joked that it was a 6 God intervention. I don't know what the fuck happened there. But the point is, in the community section, you can definitely download my reaction to Iceman. I couldn't put it on my channel, man. I was like, the audio is it's just too bad in terms of the songs sort of echoing and stuff. Although it does have an interesting effect when you're listening to it and watching it. I was looking back and I was like, it's almost like some Screwed and Chopped shit with all the songs. But anyway, the point is, in my initial review, I did mention how I was like, the song is one of the better ones. It was okay, and I cut off. And ironically, stopped me. I was ghost facing it, obviously, but I stopped the song right before the best part of the fucking song. And to me, the best part of the song is the part that I quoted. I'm gonna show you what I mean. And interestingly enough, to me, it's the best part of the whole 3 releases, right? Like, I actually was like, oh shit. It was almost like a vulnerable moment, but again, it's like real fucking music. So, what am I talking about? Let's play this, and I'll show you the part I'm talking about. She said she was Persian, started speaking Farsi, and all that shit. And I was like, finally, some actual Toronto shit.
She wanna go next door, she wanna me party.
Let's go.
She said she was Persian and started speaking Farsi. I don't know what's up with me lately.
That's hard.
I say I'm alone, she said that's not something you should be. Appreciate you reaching out, don't be too concerned about me.
Yeah, man.
You know that I'm drinking, smoking, thinking. Please stop asking me when are we linking, it's Iceman season.
That's hard. Now, this is the best song on the album because it's actually overall the best beat. And Drake actually spits some lines that are, I would argue, memorable, heartfelt at least. It's not necessarily quotables, but they're just heartfelt. Again, music is emotion at its core. So you don't need to spit the highfalutin lyrical shit. You just kind of make people feel you, right? And I like that line, man. And again, there's so many things I like about it. I like the, shout out to the Iranian, the Iranians are going through a hard time right now, right? The Persians, shout out to them, right? So again, your music is there to heal people, man. I don't really buy this thing about why people cannot seem to understand that even hip-hop, even though hip-hop is all about confidence and swag and all that shit, it's supposed to make you feel better about life, all things considered. Even the tough shit, it's supposed to give you that steroid, that motivation to go get it, right? It's not supposed to bring you down and depress you and make you feel like you ain't shit and all that stuff. Like, what are we doing, right? And so I like that. That to me is by far the best part of the entire album. And if I were in Drake's circle and I heard that, I would say, listen, homie, you gotta make the song better, because that little sort of 4 bars is the best part of this whole song and actually has some sort of meaning. Because the way that Don't Worry starts, the reason I think that the song is not so great, I think it starts rough, right?
I'm waking up
to what? You started off the song fucked up. It's a little rough. And then honestly, the other part of the song, and I'm sure that this will hit with, I don't know, like the younger, more insecure generation, they might think that this shit's hot. I'll show you what I mean.
It's Iceman. I just wanna see a boy beg on the pavement.
I just wanna see it, but I don't wanna see him struggle with the phone bill. I wanna see him struggle with the light bill. Like, shut the fuck up. Okay? See, this is what I talked about in my interview, shout out to GTV Network, about rappers dissing their audience. Your audience is struggling to pay the phone bill, is struggling to pay the light bill. Okay? Most of them are. Especially your black audience. Let's keep it fucking real. So why would you even put that in there? Why, if you're in Drake's camp, don't let him say that shit, right? And this is what I'm talking about. This record could have been an uplifting record. This could have been something that really people need right now. They need this shit. But instead, you got whack lines tossed in there. Now, after saying some heartwarming shit, then you're like, man, I just want to see him struggle for his life. I want to see him eat a bullet. You're like, this is stupid, right? This is dumb. There's a time and place for everything. Definitely not the time for that. So again, I think a lot of this needs editing and needs work. You can't just put out the first thing that you decide to put on paper. And that's what a lot of this shit sounds like. So all in all, I think Iceman is fairly weak. And it brings me to my point. You know, one thing I noticed when I went to Lost and Found, and I've noticed this a lot anyways. I was, my brother and I laugh about this shit. But, so, when I'm in Lost and Found, right, there's a couple of things. For those of y'all who've never been, I was there. I remember there was like they have little booths, well, like sections. You know, it's like they're kind of doing the Atlanta thing, whatever. But at least it's not like walled off. I've seen in Atlanta they even almost have like it's damn near becoming glass. They'll have a little, like they really wall this shit off, which is crazy. But the point is, I remember there was a dude from Queens. Shout out to, you know, if he ever sees this video, which I don't think he will. But there was some mans in them from Queens, and they're like, Queens get the money. You know, they had the girls with the bottles and the signs come out and all that shit. So he was trying to, obviously he was like flexing that New York thing. You know, it works. But my point is, what I find so interesting about Lost and Found, and I had been to I was just out on King Street. So I went to a bunch of different spots just out of curiosity. And when I went to Lost and Found, right away I noticed how diverse the audience is. Obviously, most of the audience is black, right? You could say 70% of the audience, 60 to 70% is black. But there's a considerable 30% or so audience that are not black at all. You've got like, random Asian guy, Filipino girls, Indian guys, white girls and white guys, preppy white guys, preppy or whatever white chicks. I mean, it's like a zoo. It's a hodgepodge, and it's interesting because that's maybe like this is actually what hip hop is. Hip hop is a fucking zoo, all things considered. It's a cool zoo, but it's a zoo. It's always been a zoo, really, when you think about it. And what makes hip hop so appealing is that it really is the music of the youth and the world, in the sense that even though, yes, it's black music, it's black American, black New Yorker music gone viral. And there's entry points for anybody who wants to participate. And that's what makes hip hop dope. But it also can make hip hop watered down and fucked up. It's like anything. It goes both ways, right? But as I'm listening to some of these songs, I'm just like, man, these songs, hip hop has changed in a very negative way, okay? And again, this is the old guy talking. But one thing I've noticed is that we've gone from sort of confidence and sort of flexing confidence to actually dissing the audience. And I think that those are actually two different things. Because someone would say, well, hip hop has always been about being arrogant and strutting your shit, right? And it's like, you're right. It has always been about strutting your shit and being somewhat confident and all of that stuff. But I would argue that the records back then, if you listen to what they were saying, a lot of the times, and even especially the energy, it was about bigging their self and their crew, their neighborhood up. It was very much like the way that they expressed their dominance or their, let's say, control, was bigging themselves up. Very rarely were they talking about sort of other people, or I should say, it wasn't like they were sitting and spending whole bars dedicated to other people, like you're a whack. I mean, Jay even has a fucking, and to all y'all throwing shots at Jigga, half a bar, fuck y'all niggas, and that was it. It's over. But Jay is mostly Rockefeller. We run this shit. He's mostly talking about himself, right? But I've noticed that with a lot of the youth, when they make their hip-hop records, a lot of times they be talking about other people. And they're talking about their other listeners and stuff, and they rarely really talk about themselves. And sure, they might be like, yeah, I'm getting money, I'm whatever. But a lot of times it's, you're broke, you're a bitch, I shot you, I'm gonna shoot. It's very aimed at actually putting down the audience. And you can't help but notice this shit. Once you notice it, you notice it. And this is part of the problem with kind of Lost and Found to a certain extent, but it's not just a Lost and Found thing, because this is hip-hop, unfortunately, modern culture across the board. So much of it is based on flexing and trying not even necessarily put yourself up, but more to show that you're better than everyone else, right? You don't come to my table because I'm here with bottles and you're not on my level. Right? It's a very dark warping of what is supposed to be confidence, if you argue what I'm saying. So, again, I'm not saying necessarily that you can't have VIP sections in clubs or you should ban that shit. I'm not necessarily saying that. again, back in my day, back in my day, as the old guy, I don't even remember, honestly. I mean, I was just a broke college student, so I don't even fucking remember whether we had VIP sections. I think we did, actually. I think the VIP thing was starting to come around and make its rounds. But again, it's so interesting because well, I guess you could say as a college kid or whatever, it's not something I paid attention to at all. And I would argue that most people didn't. I mean, sure, again, if you were in some of the major cities and if you were around rappers and all that kind of stuff, maybe. But a lot of times it was just like there was the dance floor and if you weren't there, you weren't hanging, you weren't having fun type of thing. And yeah, maybe in the back they had a couple of VIPs. Whereas now it's almost like there is no dance floor. It's just all sections, right? Kind of. And then and maybe there's a little small section in the middle where like, yes, there's a bit of dancing, but it's too close to the section. So it's not really quite the meeting place that the clubs used to be. Anyway, so that's my long thoughts and take on Iceman. I think this could have been way better. Obviously, the production I found was just not it. I don't know if it was I don't know if it was a mixture of two things where, number one, they overthought it, right? Instead of just give people what they like in terms of trap, Drake, the Jumpmans, the worst behavior, just do that shit. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I don't know if they were like, well, we can't just come with the same, like, what we've done before. Okay, but then, these beats are just not it. They're a little bit morose, right? Or they just can't make those songs anymore because they don't have the energy, they don't have the the motivation, the inspiration. And so therefore they did the best they could, but this is sort of first draft shit and they didn't really spend the time. I don't know. But either way, the outcome of this is not so good. So I would say that unfortunately, I think that these are, I can't even talk about Habibti and Maid of Honor because them shits is unlistenable to me personally. There was one song Drake had, I think it was called Rusty Intro or something like that. I thought that was that on Habibti or what? I don't remember. Yeah, Habibti. This was probably the best song in Habibti, but it's not even really a song, right? It's a fucking intro. It was a little. It was almost like him doing that, like what's that Delilah song? Something like that, like some white boy with the indie guitar type shit. Which again is okay, I guess, but I'm not listening to this. Okay, it's just not my cup of tea. 666. Okay. The last thing I wanted to mention, I finally found a video, is for a record, Iceman, to be constantly shot in Toronto, even sort of maybe mention Toronto here and there, there wasn't a lot of Toronto in it, in a weird way. And I find that quite disappointing. Now, this is the other thing I find with Toronto artists, and I've said this obviously in a previous interview, because previous interviews I've mentioned that obviously Toronto artists do have it tough, hip-hop artists, because they are not connected to the US, blah 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 blah, the infrastructure's not here. But however, Toronto artists also are not taking advantage of the most obvious things they have at their disposal that makes them compete that can make them compete on a higher level than a lot of American cities. And that is really and truly our diversity. And I know diversity is kind of an icky word now, obviously, because DEI racists ran that shit into the ground. But the truth is that Toronto has a lot of very different people. It's kind of a mosaic. They're not really all, intermingling, which is a part of the problem, in my opinion. However, the fact of the matter is that if you are a rap producer, to me, you have really no excuse to be making whack shit, because there are many communities out here. Hip hop is sampling. Go out and listen to some new shit. Go hang out at Baile funk parties. Go listen to the Chinese opera. I mean, there are so many things you can sample. There are so many different people you can meet and go like, oh, I kind of like that, And here's my example of this, right? This song is old. This came out like maybe, 3 years ago or something. Yeah, 3 years ago. But, I don't know how famous this guy is. I don't know. But I heard this. Someone had recommended this song, actually, a little while ago when I was talking about Brazilian baile funk and all that. Shout out to my Brazilian folk. But, again, if you're an artist, you have to pay attention to what's going on. I always say this, like, look outside of your bubble. And you can get ideas, right? It doesn't. Now the song I'm about to play. I'm not saying that song's gotta do a version of this. That is not the point. Before song goes, the song was dumb. Like he wants no. I'm saying pay attention to other people's shit. That's all I'm saying. And sometimes you could take something like this and you never know. You could turn this into a rap fucking classic. You'd be surprised. It's the strangest songs from other cultures. Again, hip hop does this. You warp shit. You kind of make it hip hop. You make it cool. And now all of a sudden, you've come out with a song that we can't get enough of. We're addicted to. We want to hear them shits in the club. We want the girls to dance to that shit. Right? Let's go. Let's go. Come on, man. You don't want to go out to... You don't want to go out here some girls and be on the dance floor. Come on, man. That's why we went out. Okay? Let's bring some sex back into this music. That's a lot of sex is missing from hip hop, by the way, I think. But part of why the stuff from the 2000s and prior holds up is because there was a sexual element there. Even in those dark records, even those hard street records, there was that undercurrent. It was there. You know, but now shit's so sterile and lame. So again, inspiration is out there. You just got to look for it, okay? There's no excuses, all right? No more. Love y'all. Thanks for rocking with me as always. Peace.